Once upon a time in a magical kingdom called Fairyland, there lived a beautiful unicorn princess named Stardust. Stardust had a flowing silvery-white mane and tail, and a glittery pink horn on her forehead. Her coat shone like the night sky, dotted with tiny sparkling stars. Stardust lived in a castle made of clouds high up in the mountains, and she loved looking down at the forests and rivers that made up her kingdom. One morning, Stardust was woken up by her lady-in-waiting, a helpful fairy named Twinkle. "Princess Stardust," said Twinkle, "I have terrible news. An evil sorcerer named Lord Darkshadow has put a curse on Fairyland. All the fairies' magic has vanished. Now no one can fly, grant wishes, or make fairy dust." Stardust gasped. "That's horrible. Without fairy magic, all the plants and animals will begin to suffer. We have to do something." The wise old unicorn queen, Stardust's mother, stepped forward. "Darkshadow must have used the evil crimson crystal to steal the fairies' powers," she said grimly. "Stardust, you are the only one who can defeat him. You must journey to his dark castle and retrieve the crystal." Stardust was scared, but she knew it was her duty to save Fairyland. After packing supplies for the journey, she spread her majestic wings and took to the skies. She flew over sparkling rivers and flower-filled meadows toward the dark, twisted towers of Shadow Castle looming on the horizon. As she flew closer, strange shadow creatures swirled through the air around her. "You'll never defeat Lord Darkshadow," they hissed. "Turn back now." But Stardust was brave. She ignored the shadow creatures and kept flying straight toward the castle. At last Stardust arrived at the castle gates. Taking a deep breath, she charged her horn with magic and blasted the gates open. Inside, the halls were gloomy and lined with lurking shadow guards. Stardust had to fight her way through, using her horn and hooves until she reached the throne room. There sat Lord Darkshadow, tall and terrible, holding the glowing red-crimson crystal in one hand. "Well, well," he sneered in a booming voice. "If it isn't little Princess Stardust. You're too late to stop me." He aimed the crystal at Stardust and zapped her with its red beam. Stardust cried out and fell to her knees as pain shot through her. But she wouldn't give up that easily. With all her strength, she stood back up and unleashed a powerful beam of magic from her horn, blasting Lord Darkshadow right out of his throne. The crimson crystal flew from his grasp and Stardust leapt to catch it. "No!" yelled Lord Darkshadow as he vanished in a puff of smoke. The battle was won. Holding the crimson crystal high, Stardust flew out of Shadow Castle back toward home. When she reached the fairy village, she held the crystal up to the sun and cried, "Fairies of Fairyland, I return your powers." Sunlight streamed through the gem, and in a burst of rainbow sparkles, the fairies could fly again. The plants bloomed, the forest animals rejoiced, and fairy dust filled the air once more. Back at the castle, Stardust's parents, the Unicorn King and Queen, hugged their daughter tightly. "You saved us all, dear Stardust," said the Queen. "You were so brave." Stardust just smiled. I did what any noble unicorn would do for her kingdom." That night, the fairies held a big celebration in Stardust's honor. Everyone danced under the stars, so happy that Fairyland was safe and filled with magic again, thanks to their brave, kind, and beautiful unicorn princess.